Alien Update number 1. And so it begins. Our first story is from the great state of New York. On March 8th, 2020, an article was published for NewYorkUpstate.com by Sonny Hernandez. The article discusses how UFO sightings have nearly doubled from 89 sightings to 162 in the upstate New York area. The numbers come from the National UFO Reporting Center. An interesting fact from the article, according to the reporting center, Idaho has the most sightings of any state. In the article, Sonny breaks down where in New York the sightings take place, and the 6 top cities are Rochester, West Chazy, Buffalo, Utica, Carmel, and Kingston. Our next story comes from across the pond in the UK. Writing for The Leader on leaderlive.co.uk, Matt Warner brings us an article about a possible UFO crash incident in the ensuing investigation and cover-up. In this article, an investigator named Russ Kellett is in search of answers surrounding the incident from 2000. On the Horseshoe Pass in Llangollen, Wales, police, firefighters, and the army responded to an emergency and closed off the area on December 17, 2000. Why this is interesting is because recently the UK government has released UFO files, much like the US government, and this incident was not included. So why was the army there? Matt believes the incident is related to the Roswell incident, or the UK's Roswell. I was unaware of this incident from 1974 in the Berwyn Mountains. Many people in the surrounding areas heard explosions and saw lights in the sky. Matt thinks the incident in 2000 may be tied into this. Interesting. And Wales seems to be a hot spot for UFOs, so we'll keep our focus there and watch out for more stories. The next story is from a reputable source, Scientific American. The article is about the people working on the mission to Europa, one of Jupiter's moons. The article, published on March 9th by Lee Billings, about the mission to explore the vast oceans of Europa, which are said to be larger than all of the oceans of the Earth. They're searching for life in a possible hospitable environment beneath the frozen ice. The article states the mission could launch as early as 2024. The article is mostly about the workers and people helping with the project. As far as the scientific search for extraterrestrial life, Mars and Europa seem to be our best chances. So we're going to keep our eye out for more stories on both Europa and Mars. The next story comes from nextgov.com. It's an article by Brandy Vincent titled Critical Update. Let's talk about UFOs. She discusses Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and his actions to help fund the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, known as ATIP. And she talks about some of the comments that he's made. The most interesting one I've seen, and one of the most interesting comments I've heard on the subject because of who's making it, the Senate Majority Leader, Harry Reid, he states, "The one thing that we established is that not a dozen people have seen these occurrences. Not 100 of them. Thousands of people have seen them. If that's not exciting, I don't know what is. She briefly discusses the UAP task force, and the article contains a link of her reading more information on the story. If you want to follow that, there's a link to the article in the description. Next is an article titled Harvard Psychologist Who Brought Credibility to Alien Abduction Research by George Knapp and Duncan Phoenix for the MysteryWire.com. The article talks about the Pulitzer Prize winning academic that interviewed people who had been abducted, and he concluded that they were telling the truth. Dr. John Mack was an important figure in the field of aliens and alien abductions. In a new book about him is coming out by Ralph Blumenthal titled The Believer. Dr. Mack's conclusion was important because it led to an academic fight at Harvard about academic freedom. The article includes an audio portion. If you'd like to listen, find the link below. Next is a fun article by Joe Taysom, writing for Far Out magazine, titled From Elvis Presley to Lennon, 6 Legendary Musicians Who Claim to Have Seen UFOs. In it, he says Elvis saw multiple UFOs, including one which gave him a vision of his future self, and he saw himself wearing his famous white jumpsuit. He was said to be obsessed with UFOs. John Lennon, in 1974, he saw lights flashing on and off around the bottom of a flying object. Other musicians included Keith Richards, who has seen UFOs at his estate in the UK, and Tom DeLonge from Blink-182, who has gone on to found To the Stars Academy, dedicated to finding UFOs. Next, we have an article from Vice by Becky Ferreira about Avi Loeb, a professor at Harvard who believes that the Oumuamua object which flew through our solar system in October 2017 was an alien object. The object came from outside of our solar system, and because of its dimensions, brightness, and speed, he believes it was an artificial origin, possibly an alien ship or a piece of alien civilization. He has a book, Extraterrestrials, the First Sign of Intelligent Life Beyond Earth. You can also hear him on Lex Friedman's podcast and the Joe Rogan podcast. The last article is from thepointsguy.com by Charlie Page, titled, Anyone else seeing these lights? How often do pilots see UFOs? I found that article interesting because it's written by a pilot, and he basically explains how pilots can be mistaken because of the cockpit conditions and long flight hours during dusk, dawn, and dark conditions. He believes there are aliens and does not doubt all of his colleagues. He's just offering up what could account for such a large number. It was an interesting read. For links to articles, look in the description below. Please like, subscribe, and tune in each week. The channel is new, so any critiques, ideas, and opinions, please comment down below. Also, if you have had a UFO experience and would like to be interviewed for the show, email us at alienupdateyt@gmail.com. Hope you tune in next week. Let's find the truth together.